All right, ready for this? We're going deep on solo travel in Thailand today.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, Thailand, right? The land of smiles.
Our listeners got this trip planned.
Awesome.
And we're going to help make it epic, right?
Cool.
I've got a whole stack of sources here, like travel blogs, safety guides, even some stuff about group tours. So we're getting all sides of this.
Yeah, the full pickup.
Practical tips, personal stories, you name it.
I was going to say, it's not just like surface level.
Yeah, for sure. We're going deep.
Like what really makes Thailand a haven for solo travelers?
Exactly. Okay, so first things first. Why Thailand? What makes it so special for solo adventurers?
Well, all our sources kind of paint this picture of balance.
Oh.
Like you've got these golden temples, untouched national parks, and then that crazy nightlife.
Right.
All super affordable.
Huge, yeah. Especially if you're, like, on a budget.
For sure.
Or maybe you want to travel longer. It's, like, perfect, right?
Yeah. Now, I know what some people are thinking.
What's that?
Safety. Especially for women going solo.
Definitely top of mind.
It's a valid concern,
Oh, yeah. But there's this source. Is Thailand safe?
Right.
They actually have some stats.
Okay.
Thailand ranks higher than a lot of Western countries on safety.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and a lot of the personal stories back that up.
That's reassuring.
It is, but of course nowhere's perfectly safe.
Right. What are some of the, potential risks?
They mention motorbike accidents.
Ah.
Sadly, those are pretty common.
Yeah, I can see that.
And of course the scams, especially if you're traveling solo.
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of personal stories, this one, my first solo trip sucked.
Oh, I read that one.
So honest, right?
Yeah, it's super relatable, especially if it's your first solo trip.
Mm-hmm.
The author talks about feeling lonely,
Yeah.
the culture shock,
I can imagine.
even facing some racism,
Wow.
which is unfortunately real for a lot of travelers.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that stuff,
Totally. When you
Thanks.
see those perfect travel photos.
Exactly.
But that's not the whole story.
No, definitely not. What happens next?
Well, the source doesn't just dwell on the bad stuff.
Okay.
It's about how those struggles led to something amazing.
Like what?
A transformation.
Ooh. Okay.
They talk about being more resilient,
That's huge.
deeper sense of self, and ultimately the confidence to go on an even bigger solo adventure.
Wow.
It's powerful.
That's a great takeaway for our listener.
Yeah, it is. Challenges are part of the process.
Mm,
They can lead to some serious growth.
totally. Okay, so we're mentally prepped.
Yeah.
We know Thailand's calling.
Mhm.
Now let's get practical. What about visas, health stuff?
Okay, so visas, good news. Lots of nationalities get a visa on arrival.
That's easy.
Super smooth. But
Yeah.
you got to double check for your specific country.
For sure.
Requirements can change,
Right. They don't want to get stuck.
Exactly. And for health. Yeah.
Always good to talk to a doctor or a travel clinic well in advance. Make sure those vaccinations are up to date.
Makes sense.
And pack any meds you need.
Good point. Peace of mind is key.
Huge, especially when you're on your own.
All right. So visas, health, check. What about packing?
Light.
Pack light.
Always good advice.
Especially if you're hopping around. Choose clothes that are, versatile, comfortable, good for temples, markets, all that.
Right. Oh, and temples.
Yeah.
The sources mention modest dress.
Absolutely.
Out of respect, right?
Yes, definitely. Shoulders and knees covered.
Okay, got it. Now, money. What's the best way to handle that?
Mix of cash and cards is usually good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there was this tip in my first solo trip.
Yeah.
Small padlocks. For extra security, especially in hostels.
Smart.
Never hurts to be careful.
Okay, good tip. Now, Thailand is huge, so transportation.
Yes. If you're starting in Bangkok, you're in luck. Public transport is amazing.
Oh, nice.
SkyTrain, MRT, underground, riverboats.
Wow. Sounds efficient.
It is, and affordable.
Perfect. But what about when public transport isn't an option?
Taxis, ride-sharing apps like Grab.
Those are everywhere these days.
But safety first. Metered taxes,
Yeah,
Double-check details on those ride-sharing apps.
good point.
And, of course, there are tuk-tuks.
Oh, yes, the tuk-tuks.
So fun.
Yeah, but I bet they can try to overcharge you.
True. Agree on a price beforehand.
Smart. Okay, so we've got public transport, taxis, tuk-tuks.
Mm-hmm.
What about motorbikes? Some people want to rent those, right?
Yeah, they're popular, but
Yeah.
be honest about your experience level.
Oh, yeah. Thailand traffic can be crazy.
It can. Always wear a helmet.
Of
Of course. Safety first.
I actually had a little motorbike mishap myself once.
Oh, no. What happened?
I was in Pei, cruising along, feeling all zen,
Hmm.
and this dog, out of nowhere, runs right in front of me.
Oh,
I
geez.
slam on the brakes, and, well, let's just say my landing wasn't graceful.
Oh, man. But you were okay.
Totally fine, just my ego was bruised.
Glad to hear it.
It was a good reminder, though, you know? Stay alert.
Always. Even on those quiet roads.
Okay, enough serious stuff. Let's talk about the fun part.
The fun part.
Activities. What are our sources raving about?
Ooh, so many options. Bangkok alone is packed.
Okay, like what?
Temple hopping,
Oh, yeah? The temples?
Grand Palace, Wat Pho, Waterun.
Those are iconic.
Like stunning architecture. And then, for something completely different,
Tell me.
Chattachak Weekend Market.
I've heard of that.
It's huge like over 15,000 stalls,
Wow.
selling everything you can imagine.
Sensory overload?
The best kind.
And the food.
Oh, don't even get me started on the street food.
Legendary, right?
The best. But choose busy stalls for freshness and safety.
Good tip. Okay, so temples, markets, what else?
A cruise down the Chao Phraya River.
Ooh, nice.
Relaxing way to see the city.
Love it. And of course, Bangkok's nightlife is supposed to be amazing.
It is. Rooftop bars, live music, clubs, everything.
Sounds like you never have to sleep.
Pretty much. Now, beyond Bangkok,
Yeah, what about other parts of Thailand?
Chiang Mai is super popular.
Well, I've heard good things.
It's got this relaxed vibe, surrounded by mountains.
Beautiful.
And, of course, elephant sanctuaries.
Oh, right. But ethical ones.
Absolutely. Make sure they prioritize the elephant's well-being.
No selfies with drugged elephants.
Definitely not. And if you want off the beaten path,
Yeah.
Koh Tao,
What's that?
a secluded island, pristine beaches, mangroves totally untouched.
Sounds perfect.
It is. So bustling cities, peaceful islands, it's all there.
Thailand really does have it all.
It's why it's perfect for solo travelers.
So much variety.
You can choose your own adventure.
Love it. Okay, let's be real, though. Even in paradise, there can be scams.
True. That's where our sources come in handy.
Okay, what do they say?
Well, the tuk-tuk and taxi overcharging is classic.
Yeah, how do you avoid that?
Agree on a price beforehand.
Simple, but important.
Always. And don't be afraid to walk away if something feels off.
Good advice.
Then there are the gem scams.
Oh, right.
Fake monks,
Yeah.
preying on tourists. Be wary of overly friendly strangers. Stick to reputable shops.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nightlife. Never leave your drink unattended.
Especially when you're alone.
Exactly.
So many good reminders.
It's all about being prepared.
Okay, so we've covered safety, transport, activities, scams.
Literally.
But there's more to solo travel than just the practical stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Right, it's about the inner journey, too.
Absolutely. And that's something I think we should talk more about.
Yeah, good point.
What personal qualities do you think are most important for solo travel?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Something for our listener to think about as they get ready for Thailand.
I like it. So what are some of those qualities?
Well, resilience is key.
For
Solo travel can be unpredictable.
Right.
Things don't always go as planned.
Got to roll with the punches.
Exactly. Adaptability is huge, too.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to encounter different cultures, customs, situations. Being open to new experiences is crucial.
That's what makes it exciting.
Exactly. And one thing that stuck with me from that my first solo trip sucked story,
Yeah.
the author's determination to make the most of it, even when things were tough.
Oh, important.
Resilience, adaptability, determination. It's not just about travel.
No, it's about life.
Exactly. And solo travel pushes you out of your comfort zone
Makes you grow.
in ways you never expected.
It's about discovering your own strength.
Yeah.
Resourcefulness.
I love that. You know, all this talk about independence,
Yeah.
it brings up another important point.
What's that?
The balance between being alone and seeking connection.
Ooh, interesting.
Solo travel is often about, doing your own thing, but connecting with others can make it even better.
Right. It doesn't have to be all isolation.
Exactly. And our sources have tips for finding that balance.
Okay, how all here's.
Hostels are great for meeting people.
Makes sense.
They have social events, common areas,
Built-in community?
And then there are group tours for specific activities.
Ah, so you can still have that independence.
Right. And don't underestimate just talking to locals.
Oh, yeah.
Thai people are so friendly.
I've heard that.
Even a hello can lead to something amazing.
It's the little things.
They make all the difference. One source even mentioned learning a few Thai phrases.
Oh, great idea.
Just, hello, thank you, delicious.
Shows respect, opens doors.
Totally. So practicalities inner journey, and now connection.
It's like a recipe for an amazing solo trip.
It is. But before we wrap up, I have one last thought.
Ooh, I'd love a cliffhanger. What is it?
We've talked about all the excitement of solo travel.
The freedom, the growth.
But what about the flip side?
What do you mean?
Those moments of loneliness, vulnerability,
Yeah.
they happen, right? How do you deal with those?
That's a great question, and one we should definitely explore further.
We should.
This is getting good. We'll dive into those emotions in our next segment.
Can't wait. You know, it's funny. We always focus on, like, the glamorous side of solo travel.
The freedom, the adventure, right?
Exactly. Instagram-worthy moments.
But it's not always like that.
No, not always.
There are tough parts, too.
Definitely. It's a whole emotional roller coaster sometimes.
Yeah, that's real. Solo travel can be lonely,
Mm.
doubtful, even scary sometimes.
It's true. But I think acknowledging those feelings is important.
Yeah, it's part of the experience.
It is. Embracing the whole spectrum of emotions, you know?
Makes it more meaningful, I think.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those times when you're feeling lonely.
Okay.
What do our sources say about dealing with that?
Well, there's this one source, The Art of Solo Travel.
Okay.
They really stress self-care,
That makes sense.
creating little rituals that bring you joy.
Look what?
A cup of coffee in a cute cafe,
Mhm.
a massage,
Ooh, nice.
even just a long walk in nature.
It's about taking care of yourself, right?
Exactly. Finding moments of peace.
Even amidst the chaos of travel.
Yep. And Solo Female Traveler had another good point.
What's that?
Embrace the solitude.
Okay.
See it as a chance for self-reflection.
Instead of dreading it.
Right. Turn it into something positive.
Powerful.
Hmm.
But what about those times when you feel vulnerable?
Yeah.
Maybe a bit unsafe?
That's where trusting your gut comes in.
Our sources talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Safety tips for solo travelers, especially.
All
They
right.
say, if something feels off,
Yeah.
get out of there.
Just leave.
Don't hesitate. Safety first.
Makes sense.
And there are practical things you can do, too.
Like?
Stay in well-lit areas,
Mm-hmm.
especially at night.
Yeah, good point. Be aware of your surroundings.
Always. Okay, now let's talk about something else.
Okay.
Choices.
Choices.
Solo travel comes with a lot of choices,
True.
and that can be overwhelming.
The paradox of choice.
Exactly. So, Solo Travel Planning Guide recommends breaking your trip down.
Okay.
Smaller chunks. Don't try to do everything.
Focus on what really excites you.
Yes. Quality over quantity.
Makes it more enjoyable, less stressful.
Way less stressful, but
Oh!
leave room for spontaneity. Those unexpected moments are the best.
I love that. So it's about balance, right?
Always about balance.
Planning and flexibility.
You got it. You know, one thing that came up in my first solo trip sucked? Culture shock.
Yeah.
It's a real thing,
It is.
especially in a new country. Coping with culture shock suggests do your research beforehand.
Okay.
Learn about the customs.
Makes sense.
Etiquette helps avoid awkward situations.
Right. What else?
Patience, understanding. Things might be different,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
Embrace the differences.
Yes, see it as a learning experience.
Okay, so culture shock. And then there's,
Language barriers.
the joys of trying to communicate.
Right. One source recommends learning a few phrases.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Hello, thank you, excuse me.
Shows respect.
Exactly. And don't forget about technology.
Oh, right, like translation apps?
Lifesavers. So we've talked about the challenges.
Yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
But let's not forget the rewards.
Those are important.
They make it all worthwhile. The Solo Traveler's Handbook talks about empowerment, navigating the world on your own.
You realize you can do anything.
Exactly. And there's the personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
stepping out of your comfort zone.
Trying new things.
It changes you. And the freedom, of course,
Ah, the
to
freedom.
go where you want, when you want.
No compromises.
Pure freedom. And, of course, the connections you make.
We talked about that balance.
Right. Independence and connection.
What do the sources say about finding that balance?
Well, hostels are great for that.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
They're social. Then there are group tours, activities.
Structured, but still with that freedom.
Exactly. And don't forget just being open to conversations.
With strangers.
Yeah, you never know who you'll meet.
Those can be the best encounters. Yeah. Decided to take a cooking class.
Fun.
I was nervous at first, but I met this amazing group of people from all over the world. We cooked, laughed, shared stories.
Sounds like a great day.
It was, and we all became friends.
That's awesome.
It reminded me that even when you're traveling solo,
Yeah,
You're never truly alone.
I love that. So we've talked about the emotions of solo travel.
The challenges, the rewards, the
Yeah.
balance. How does all this apply to our listeners' trip to Thailand?
I think the main takeaway is be prepared for everything.
Okay.
The good, the bad, the unexpected.
Embrace it all.
Exactly. Trust yourself, you can handle it.
Trust yourself and enjoy the ride.
Exactly. But before we send our listener off on their adventure,
Yeah.
there's one more thing we got to talk about.
What's that?
Responsible travel. How to minimize our impact,
Oh, right. Make sure our adventures are good for the places we visit.
Exactly. And that's something we should definitely dive into.
It's important. Okay,
So
let's
will.
talk about that. All right, so responsible travel. How do we make sure our Thailand adventures are, good for the planet and the people?
Yeah, it's huge, right? All our sources are saying this should be top of mind for every traveler,
Especially solo travel.
especially solo travelers. So how can our listener make their trip as responsible as possible?
Okay, give me the goods. What are the sources saying?
Well, one thing they all agree on is supporting local businesses.
Okay, that makes sense.
Instead of those big chains,
Right.
choose locally owned places.
Like what?
Guest houses, homestays, eat at those awesome street food stalls.
Oh, yeah, the street food.
It's about putting your money directly into the community.
Yeah, and getting a more authentic experience.
Exactly. And speaking of authentic,
Yeah.
look for community-based tourism initiatives.
What are those?
Think like tours led by locals,
Okay.
workshops for traditional crafts,
Oh, cool.
maybe even volunteering.
Wow, so you're really getting involved.
Yeah, it's about connecting with the community on a deeper level.
I like that. And it helps the local economy, too.
Right. It's a win-win. And then there's ethical shopping.
Ah, yeah. Souvenirs and stuff.
Exactly. Be mindful of where you're buying things.
Okay, how do you do that?
Ask questions, learn about the products,
Huh.
make sure you're supporting fair trade practices.
So you know your money's going to the right place.
Exactly. It's about using your purchasing power for good.
Good point.
Mm.
Okay, so supporting local ethical shopping, what else?
Respecting local customs and traditions.
Right, like we talked about with modest clothing for temples.
Yep. And just being mindful of your behavior in general.
Especially in those sacred places.
Yes. Be respectful.
Quiet, dressed appropriately.
You got it. It's about being a good guest,
Makes sense. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. What about the environment?
Yes. Reducing plastic waste is huge.
Reusable water bottle, right?
Always. And say no to those plastic bags, straws, all that.
Every little bit helps.
Exactly. Transportation is another big one.
Okay, like what?
Public transport in Bangkok is great.
We talked about that, yeah.
And for longer distances, try trains or buses instead of flying.
Less carbon emissions.
Right. And last but not least, respecting wildlife.
Ah, yeah. Choosing those ethical elephant sanctuaries.
Exactly. No animal exploitation.
Admire from a distance, don't feed them.
Right. And support organizations that are protecting wildlife.
Okay, so much good stuff here. Local businesses, communities, shopping, customs, waste, transport, wildlife.
It's a lot, but it's all connected.
Right. It's about being a conscious traveler.
Exactly. And, responsible travel isn't just about doing the right thing.
It's not.
It actually makes your trip better.
Really? How so?
When you connect with the culture,
Yeah.
support local people,
Yeah.
your experience is richer, more authentic.
It's like you're really experiencing the place, not just seeing it.
Exactly. And those memories, they stay with you.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
You're doing good and having a better experience.
Absolutely. So, to our listener who's getting ready for Thailand,
Yes, to our listener.
pack your sense of adventure,
Of course.
your curiosity,
Of
and your
course.
commitment to responsible travel.
We've given them so many great tips and things to think about.
We have. And I know they're going to have an amazing trip,
An unforgettable journey.
filled with incredible experiences and meaningful connections.
And a deep appreciation for Thailand.
Absolutely. Safe travels, listener.
And until next time, keep exploring the world responsibly and with an open heart.